Hi guys, it's Tara and welcome back to Crafting with Curly Cues. Today I have some really fun watercolor backgrounds using my Zig Clean Color markers, and I'm doing a Close to My Heart edition, so I'm going to feature some great stamps from Close to My Heart. So to get started, I cut these little vellum squares using some Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle dies, and then I'm going to use that adorable stamp set from Close to My Heart that's got a bunch of really fun kind of witty, silly birthday sentiments on it. And I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss those on these little vellum squares using some white embossing powder. So I used my Versamark ink to ink the stamp up. I did prep it with my powder bag first to make sure I didn't get any embossing powder where I don't want it. It still happened on this one, but hey, you do your best. And then I used my handy dandy coffee filter to catch all my extra embossing powder. And then I'm going to go ahead and just heat these up. So I did all 4 of these in the same way. I used different sentiments, but it was the exact same concept. So rather than bore you with that, I'm going to move on to the fun part. I've got my 60 pack of Zig Clean Color brush markers here. And I have just for each background picked a couple different colors that I thought would be fun together. And as you can see, I am just scribbling on this watercolor paper. So this is some Canson Cold Press XL watercolor paper. And I used a slightly larger stitched rectangle die from Lawn Fawn to cut these out ahead of time. And then I used my distress sprayer from Tim Holtz. You could use any sprayer for this because I'm not really distressing. I'm just getting it wet to spritz that color around and get it moving. So this was just a really fun experiment project for me. So I was wanting to just see what kinds of different backgrounds I could create using my Zig markers and some spray. I just wanted it to be like a messy, fun, organic, quick project to create this set of birthday cards. So you can see that the paper warps as it's wet. You could tape it down to a hard surface if you wanted to prevent the warping. I was okay with the warping because it's going to let that color move. And then I used my paper towel to kind of soak up some of the big blobs of color just to prevent it from leaking off the side. But you could leave those there if you wanted to, however you wanted to do this. So you can see on this one with these pink shades, I'm kind of scribbling in polka dots, and I just was trying to see, like, does it really make a difference how I put the color on my paper once I spray it? I wanted to kind of see if I could get some different effects. And I think what I determined, because you can kind of see there that you can still see those kind of polka dots of color, and if I'd had these taped onto like a flat surface so they didn't warp up and the color couldn't run down the sides, I think you would have gotten a lot more of the impression, like those polka dots would have stayed more obvious. So that's something I might try next time. Like this one, I'm going to do some diagonal stripes. Because my paper warps and I just kind of let everything fall where it wanted to and flow around, I kind of lost some of that pattern, and it probably didn't really matter where I put my color down, but it was still fun to play with and see what it did when you hit it with the spray. So you can see up there, I'm on that pink one, I'm taking my paper towel and I'm kind of keeping an eye on those ones that are drying and dabbing up some of the excess color as it pools up. I'm kind of wanting this first layer of color to dry naturally just so that I get a different look. I usually am super, super impatient and I hit everything with my heat tool, but I was trying to be a patient girl and let all these dry in the air as they should. I kind of halfway succeeded, and you'll see what I mean by that later. But hey, half of victory is closer than no victory at all. Pardon me. Gosh, I'm stumbling. So I will tell you guys. So I am trying to get a little bit more personal in some of my blogs and my videos. And this card set right here is totally me letting off some anxiety steam. So I had a job interview today for a position that I am super excited about. I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that I get it. I know everything's going to work out the way that it's supposed to, but I made these cards last night before my interview because I was super jittery. Like I had anxiety nerves like firing on all cylinders last night, and I needed to kind of make my brain not pay attention to that anymore. So that's why I sat down and made like a whole set of cards. I usually don't do a bunch of cards at once, but I was like, okay, I really need to keep my brain busy like all night long. So that was where these cards kind of came from. And I also didn't want to have to think too hard, hence the like fun, messy watercolor backgrounds. So that's my little personal note in this video for you, just to give you some of my idea of where my inspiration came from. So you can see once those panels are pretty much dry, I'm coming in and I'm adding a little bit more color, and then I went ahead and added a little bit more water. And this is where I cheat. I do air dry, not air dry. I do use my heat tool to dry the second layer, just because I'm actually kind of pushing the color around with the air and trying to help it layer on top of what's already there in an interesting way. Plus, I'm impatient. So, like I said, I got halfway to my success of air drying. So here with the pink, I'm going to add some more circles. And again, just hoping that that will give it a little bit of pattern. And I get a little bit more on this one because I am using my heat tool, so I have a little bit more control. And I'm not adding a ton of water. You can see, like, I want the color to move and look watercolory, but I don't want it to look just like a wash of color. I want to keep some of those harsh edges and such. The pink one is my favorite. I mean, I love pink anyway, but I just really love the way that that one dried and turned out. So here I'm coming in with my orange one, and I have a sentiment that has to do with cheese. You'll see it later. So I thought this one ended up being like the perfect color. So when I did this one the first time, I kind of put some spirals on it, and if it had been taped down, I think it would have been super cool because it kind of looked like tie-dye, like a tie-dye t-shirt, and you could kind of still see the spiral. Well, as this one air dried, the ink just blended all over the place, and you can't, there's like no hint of my spiral left anywhere. And then I got it way too wet, and so as I'm pushing this all around, this one pretty much just turned into a color wash. I mean, I still think it's pretty, but it definitely didn't have as much character as I was looking for in these. And this was another thing that was fun about this technique, is that I pretty much did the same thing on every single one. I mean, I applied the color a little bit differently, but I'm doing the same concept where I'm putting two colors, spritzing it with water, and seeing what happens. And yet every background turned out really different, really unique. So it's just really fun to create sets of cards with these watercolor backgrounds, because yes, it is a set because it's the same concept and the same idea for each card, but the watercolor is just going to do its own thing, and I think it's just super cool to watch what happens with that. So now I have taken all four of these little panels and I've got them all situated. I love that blue and green one too. I love the harsh lines that I ended up with. So you can see each one super distinct, got its own cool look, and now I'm going to add a little bit of extra stuff on top. I'm going to do some splatters. So you see, I took my Lawn Fawn black licorice ink and I squished it all over my glass craft mat in the corner there. And then I spritzed it with a bunch of water and took a paintbrush and swirled it around. And now I'm flicking some of that onto my backgrounds to create some black splatters. So I was going to do white originally, but my heat embossing on my vellum is white and I just wanted it to really stand out. So I decided to go with the black. Now I've got some gold perfect pearls, and I'm going to put some of that on my craft mat here, my glass craft mat. Love my glass craft mat. And I'm going to spritz some water there, and I'm going to mix up this gold shimmery. I don't have any gold watercolor or any gold sprays or anything, so this is how I decided to come up with a really pretty opaque shimmer to splatter on the top of this. I really wanted to do gold. I just wanted to add a little something because these are pretty simple cards. It's really just the background is what stands out and makes it special. And so I just, I got to have some bling on there somewhere, right? So I went ahead and splattered each of those with gold, and you can see how shiny that is in the light. I think it's the perfect touch to just add something special to these cards. You can see on that orange up there, it's like shiny in my light. I think it looks so pretty. So now I'm just taking some standard A2 card bases, and I have kind of a variety of top folding and side folding. And I have cut down a few pieces of craft foam, and these are just kind of scraps that I had laying around, and I cut them down to be smaller than these watercolor panels and just put them right in the middle of those card bases. I'm kind of tucking aside my ATG glue. I don't know if you guys ever get that where you like pull it up at the end and it's got little danglies. So I wanted to make sure that wasn't sticking out the side. And then I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that watercolor panel right in the middle of that card. And I did that for all four of them. And then kind of decided which sentiment I wanted to go with which background. And now I'm going to take my Ranger Multimedia Matte, and I am going to go ahead and put just the tiniest bit of this adhesive behind some of those larger letters. These sentiments are super fun. I love this stamp set. Like, how cute is this? I really love that one that says, "So far, this is the oldest you have ever been." I mean, I just like, that's a great birthday card, right? And so I am going to just go ahead and stick that then right in the middle of the card and use an acrylic block to hold it down. So this stamp set from Close to My Heart, I just want to let you guys know, is a Hostess exclusive. So you have to host a party in order to have access to purchase this set. It's a super cute set. If you host a party, then you have the ability to purchase it for a really great price. You can always contact me if you're interested in a party. I can do online ones also. So just keeping that in mind, I just didn't want any of you to go looking for this stamp set and wonder why you couldn't find it on the Close to My Heart website. It's because it is a Hostess exclusive. But I glued all 4 of those down in the exact same way, and the only thing I did different was I added that little heart to the pink one because the sentiment didn't fill up the whole vellum square, and I just kind of wanted it to look full. So here are some close-ups of these cards. I think that these backgrounds turned out so pretty. This is totally different for me to not have any colored images on a card, but I really had fun messing with these backgrounds, and it took my job interview anxiety completely away. So thanks so much for watching, you guys. If you want a full list of the supplies, go ahead and visit my blog. If you enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. Check out the description box below for some more crafty inspiration, and you can join me on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Thanks, guys. Bye.